was in 7th grade. There was a girl named Noor, who also used to go to school with us. Everyone lovingly called her Nori. This girl's father had passed away. She lived with her widowed mother and elderly grandmother in a small single-room mud house, which had been her father's property. Nori's mother was a very hard-working woman. After her husband's death, her in-laws cut ties with her. In her own family, she had no one except a helpless blind mother. She had a brother, but he had moved to the city to earn a living, and later married there, never returning to provide support to his family. Now, for Nori's mother, Hajra Kala, there was nothing left but widowhood. She resolved to face life's challenges on her own. For the sake of her daughter, she dismissed any thought of remarriage and decided to live her life with determination. Supported by Nori, from morning till evening, poor Hajra Kala worked various jobs in the houses of the neighborhood. She would stitch blankets and quilts for some, grind spices at the millstone for others, or wash someone's clothes. Whatever wage she received for her hard work, she used to feed her child and blind mother. These people had seen better days in the past. Their house was situated in a well-off neighborhood. Hajra Kala wished for her Nori to attend school and become educated. Hajra herself couldn't escape her hardships through marriage, so she wanted to make her daughter capable of a better future. Noor was a very innocent girl. She was 1 year older than me. We all used to go to school together. She would quietly walk with us the entire way, occasionally coming to my house too. There was a woman in our neighborhood whom everyone called Aiza Baji. She was much older than us. She lived with her brother, Rabil, who was studying to become an engineer. His studies often required him to stay out of the city, but Aiza Baji remained at home. Whenever we faced difficulty understanding a lesson, we would go to her. She was very capable and had studied at a convent school. With kindness, she would teach me and Nori. One time during the school holidays, Rabil came home. Noor went to their house to ask him about a lesson. When Rabil saw her, he really liked her. It was the first time they talked, and from then on, Noor started visiting their house. Aiza Baji and her mother also became affectionate toward Noor. Whenever she visited, they warmly welcomed her. Noor's mother was completely unaware of this. She only thought Noor was visiting our house. When Rabil became an engineer, he got a job in Karachi. He told his mother, "Pack our things. We're moving to Karachi, but before we go, finalize a marriage proposal with Nori's mother." "Yes, that's what I was thinking too," said his mother. "She's a simple and decent girl. I like her as well." "Then talk to Hajra Kala about it," Aiza advised. "Her mother won't agree. She won't send her to Karachi. Noor is her only daughter, and she wants her to study further. She won't agree to get her married so soon. Rabil, listen to me and let this girl go. You have a good job now. You'll find a suitable match in Karachi." His mother tried to convince him, but Rabil did not agree. "Mother, I won't leave here without marrying Nori. I want to take her with me," he replied. Their plans to leave for Karachi hit a deadlock. At this point, Aiza Baji's mother spoke to Nori's mother about the proposal, but was met with refusal. Despite being wealthier than Nori's family, Hajra Kala couldn't bear the thought of parting with her daughter and sending her so far away. Another reason was that Aiza's family was renting in the neighborhood. Rabil went silent. They were scheduled to leave the next evening. Nori was washing dishes when a young boy came and said, "Noor Baji, Aiza Baji is calling you." Noor got frightened and nervous. Hajra said, "Go, daughter. These people are leaving. Aiza has taught you. She is your teacher. She'll be upset if you don't go." At her mother's insistence, Nori went to their house. On her way, she encountered Rabil, who said, "Hurry up. The Jeep is waiting in front. Mother and Aiza are sitting inside, waiting for you. They want to say goodbye before leaving. Walk quickly. We're getting late. Rabil seemed so urgent that poor Nori hurried toward the jeep. Aizabaji said, "Come, Noor, get in the jeep. Let's talk for a couple of minutes. My brother will drop you off in front of your house afterward." The naive and innocent girl had no clue about their motives. Trusting them, she held Aizabaji's hand and climbed into the jeep. As soon as Rabil started the jeep, he drove it quickly down the road, leading out of the village. Noor was engrossed in conversation with Aiza, but when she noticed the increasing speed of the jeep, she realized they had left the neighborhood far behind. As Aiza and her mother tried to console her, she began crying. Rabil sped the jeep toward their destination, while his mother reassured her, "Don't worry, we won't harm you. You'll live with us in a grand house in Karachi. After the marriage, we'll even bring your mother to live with us, and she won't need to work in other people's homes anymore. Rabil loves you deeply and cannot live without you. Your mother didn't agree to the proposal, so what else could we do?" Hearing their reassurances, Nori fell silent. What else could she do? By then, the jeep was far away from the village. Beyond all these conversations, there was another truth. She also liked Rabil. She had hoped to marry him, and now her dream was coming true. However, the surprise and shock made her heart race, and tears rolled down her cheeks as she thought about her mother's distress. Throughout the journey, Rabil's mother and sister continued to comfort her. Meanwhile, she peered down the street and saw the young boy who had come earlier. She called him over and asked about Noor. "Auntie." She left in the jeep with Aizabaji and her mother. The boy replied, "Who was driving the jeep?" "Rabil Bhai," the boy said. Hearing this, the ground beneath her feet seemed to collapse. She had no one to chase those people or deal with the legal complications. Crying, she said to her blind mother, "They've taken away my Nori." The blind grandmother replied, "Why are you crying? Go to the neighbors and inform them. Ask them for help." "Mother, you're so naive. When my husband died and we had nothing to eat, did anyone from this world help us? What will they do now? Maybe someone will take pity and go to the police station with you." The grandmother said, "Mother, nobody will agree to go to the police station, even if someone sympathizes. What can the police do? Will they bring my daughter back?" "Mother, you don't understand the ways of the world. I have learned everything after facing hardships and rejections." In reality, her opinions about people were based on the observations and experiences that life had taught her. Nevertheless, she went to each household in the neighborhood and shared her sorrow. Everyone gave her the same response. "You yourself used to send Noor to their house under the pretext of studying, and now you're crying. Didn't you know they had a young man in their house? Why did you trust them? Your daughter must have agreed to it too. We can accompany you to the police station, but think carefully. If you file a report, remember, the police will turn against you. Even if nothing improper happened, they will make something up. Such simple matters don't make it to the police records. It's better to show patience." These were the excuses and remarks of the neighbors. After losing hope, this oppressed woman thought, "Instead of pleading with these people, I should help myself. Otherwise, they will continue to taunt and wound my soul." She didn't even consider her blind and elderly mother. Out of love for her daughter, she gathered all her savings and left for Karachi. When she arrived in Karachi, she became overwhelmed seeing the endless flood of people and vehicles. In such a massive and mechanical city, her existence was less than that of a straw, blown about by fierce winds. Who knows where this poor soul ended up disappearing? How could she possibly find her daughter now? Who knows how long and to what extent she searched for her? In such a large city, without any address or lead, how could anyone find someone? We also went back to Lahore. About 4 years later, when we visited the village again, we found Nuri in a deeply sorrowful and destitute condition. She was living in her father's house. Her blind grandmother had already been taken in by a relative out of pity. Nori told us that as soon as she arrived in Karachi, Rabil married her. Both Aiza Baji and her mother treated her with great affection at first. 2 months after the marriage, they sent someone from the village to her mother. A neighbor told them that her mother had left and her grandmother had been taken in by relatives. They then gave me the house key, and I returned under the roof of the house my late father had built, waiting for my mother. Although in Karachi there was a grand house and also a car, just 2 years later, Rabil grew tired of me. When his affections changed, so did the behavior of his mother and sister. By that time, I had become the mother of a daughter. My daughter contracted measles, and Allah took even that joy away from me. After my daughter's death, Rabil thought of getting rid of me and, one day, used a minor issue as an excuse to divorce me and send me back. Hearing this heartbreaking story, I too began to cry. But what could I do? How could we confront Rabil? This was indeed Nori's fate, that her daughter died, and her mother, who had gone to the city to search for her, was lost forever. On one side, she would cry remembering her mother, who she believed was lost while searching for her in the city, and on the other, she would grieve for her daughter. If her daughter had been with her, there might have been some reason to live. May God ensure that no woman remains without support in this world. After this shock, Noor Bibi never remarried. Just as her mother had worked in neighbors' houses to pull the cart of life forward, she too spent the rest of her life working hard and laboring to survive. Those who had lured her onto the jeep with deceit never came back again.